times my students come and tell me that even after working really hard on their PPTs, internalizing and memorizing the content by heart, they are unable to present successfully in English. They are unable to capture the attention of the audience. Have you ever attended a presentation where the speaker started with a boring and mundane introduction? The moment the speaker started speaking, the audience got busy on their phone. Has it ever happened with you? Welcome to today's English lesson. And in today's lesson, we are going to focus on how you can organize an introduction to your presentation so that you are able to present successfully and confidently, and you are able to capture the attention, the undivided attention of your audience. Hi, I am Surabhi Jain, your language acquisition coach, and I help you learn English beyond classroom. I help you live your English, love your English, so that you can speak English automatically, naturally, and subconsciously. So in today's lesson, I'm going to share the 5-step formula for a killer introduction to your presentations. Not only that, I'm going to share certain common phrases which are used by the fluent English speakers in their introductions in a presentation. So introduction is always a significant challenge. Introduction is where you capture the attention of your audience. You make them interested in what you are going to say, and you get a chance to make that first impression on your audience. So if you follow this 5-step formula, not only your audience will be excited and leaning forward to listen to you more, even you will find yourself bursting with confidence after giving such an amazing introduction. So are you ready for the formula? Step number 1, capture their attention. So the very first step as a presenter should be to make your audience pay attention to you and what you are saying. So for this, what can we do? How to capture the attention of the audience? For this, you can follow TED Talks. You can follow certain presenters over there. All of them are amazing public speakers. Or you can learn from the best. You can follow speakers like Steve Jobs or Oprah Winfrey. These people know the art of capturing the attention of their audience at the very beginning of their presentation. So here I am going to present certain phrases, certain ways in which you can start your presentation. Now this is going to help you to prepare your introduction, whether your presentation is for 3 minutes or 3 hours. It is going to have a similar impact on your audience. Number 1, a personal story or an experience. So you can say, before I start, I would quickly like to share a story about my first day at HCL. Or you can say, I remember my first day at HCL. Number 2, you can use a motivational quote or some lines from a poem or a book. So you can say, when I was preparing for this presentation, I was reminded of Einstein. He said that if you keep on doing what you did, you will keep on getting what you got. Number 3, a joke. Now be careful while sharing a joke. Make sure that everybody in the audience is able to understand your joke and translate it to its correct perspective. Otherwise, your joke may fall flat, and at the very beginning, you might sound boring and unattractive. Number 4, you can also start with a shocking or bold statement. Do you remember that speech by Steve Jobs? Stay hungry, stay foolish. Did you know that your subconscious brain can create ideas 2 million times more than your conscious brain? Have you ever heard that kids are 96% more creative than adults? You can also start your presentation by asking a rhetorical question. Now, rhetorical questions are the questions which generally you don't want the audience to answer, but you want to ask this question in order to focus their attention on something. Now, after asking this question, don't forget to acknowledge the response of the audience. And you should also initiate their response by raising your hand so that they also raise hands along with you. The second step is to welcome your audience and introduction. So if it is a large audience where a number of people are strangers, your introduction might include saying who you are, establishing why you are an expert, perhaps talking a bit about your background, and giving a quick overview of some work or research done by you. But if the introduction is in a business meeting, in front of your colleagues or a small group of people, your introduction might include saying who you are, reminding them of your job title, and to which department do you belong to. Now, there are two reasons why we do this. Number one, we want to connect with our audience, and number two, we want them to trust us. Now, the goal of your presentation might be to change someone's mind or simply to share some research in your field. The more you are able to introduce yourself with a warm welcome, more nicely you are able to do that, the more your audience feels connected to you and the better they listen to you. So if you're looking for certain specific examples how you can introduce yourself, here you go. Welcome to Fearless Communication Tribe. I am Surabhi Jain and I am a language acquisition coach. Thank you for coming today. I am Surabhi Jain and today I'm looking forward to talking with you about how to introduce yourself in a presentation. On behalf of Fearless Communication Tribe, I welcome you all today. And for those of you who don't already know me, I am Surabhi Jain and I'm a language acquisition coach. The third step is to identify your goal or topic of presentation. At this stage, you want to be very clear with your audience about the topic or the goal of your presentation. What is the key point? What is that one thing you want your audience to know or to be prepared before you move forward in the presentation? Now, if you remember in the last video about how to prepare for a presentation in English, we talked about taking your audience from point A to point B. Now, this part of your introduction is a little bit telling about that very first point to your audience, where to search for that first step. Now, this part of your introduction should be very crisp. So it should be not more than 1 or 2 sentences and it should be very clear. So let us look at some examples. This morning, I'd like to present our new cloud computing system. My goal today is to help you understand our new cloud computing system. During my talk today morning, I'm going to brief you about the cloud computing system and why is it so important for us. By the end of my presentation, I would like you to know why is cloud computing so important for the company. The fourth step is to outline your presentation. Giving an outline of what you're going to talk about might sound something like this. In today's English lesson, I'm going to share the 5-step formula of preparing an introduction for your presentation. With that example, I have outlined what you can expect. You know that in the main part of the lesson, I'm going to share the 5 steps of preparing an introduction of your presentation. That's called outlining. It helps your audience to understand where you are going. And it also helps them to follow you while you speak. So let us look at examples. The fifth and final step is how your audience can ask you questions. You must make sure to let your audience know that when and how it is appropriate for them to ask you questions. Now, if the presentation is kind of informal, it might be okay if someone interrupts you in the middle of the presentation with a question. Or you might prefer that the people may ask you questions, but they should wait until the presentation comes to the end. For example, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt me. I would love to answer all your questions as we go along. Feel free to ask any questions. However, I request you to keep those questions for the end of the presentation. So here you go. Now you know the 5 super useful and effective ways to create a sensational introduction for your presentation in English. So let us take a quick tour again. Number 1, capture your audience attention. Number 2, welcome your audience and introduction. Number 3, identify your goal or topic of presentation. Number 4, outline your presentation. And number 5, set how your audience can ask you questions. So tell me in the comment box below, which part of the presentation frightens you the most? What makes you the most anxious about an English presentation? Feel free to share your concerns with me so that I can help you face those challenges. If you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Do share this video with a colleague who has a presentation coming up soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the next video in the series. Thank you for joining me today. I will meet you with a new lesson next week. Till then, this is Surabhi Jain saying goodbye.